Yes, my name is George Baxter. I'm here representing the Maverick County Environmental and Public Health Association. We do not believe there are any circumstances that would justify the granting of this permit. The primary concern that we have is on the Eagle Pass City water supply, which, as the mayor and others have mentioned, is the sole drinking water source of the people of Eagle Pass and most of Maverick County. One thing that has not been mentioned that I want to mention right now is I think TCEQ needs to consider the cumulative effect of this mine, the discharge from this mine, plus the discharge from the coal mines in Mexico. There is an open pit coal mine in Mexico immediately across the river from Eagle Pass, upriver of the Eagle Pass water intake. This mine can easily be observed from the U.S. side. It's within, it's hard to say, within a few hundred feet apparently of the river. And I think that TCEQ needs to find out what is being discharged from that mine and take that into account for the cumulative effect of the discharge of that mine plus the Dos Republicas mine. Likewise, I think that upon or before this Dos Republicas mine becomes operational, TCEQ should place a water monitor at the Eagle Pass water intake that will measure all pollutants. It's my understanding there's one there now, but it only measures salinity. I believe it needs to monitor all types of pollutants that can be monitored there in the water intake. Some questions were asked earlier about the sedimentation ponds and the coal mining blocks that are located in the floodplain. This did not seem to be a concern of the applicant. I think it is very concerning that these sedimentation ponds and coal mining blocks will be submerged during a 100-year or greater flood such as we have had in the past 2 years. This is no longer theoretical. It happened twice in the past 2 years. And you need to consider the effect of an open coal mining block with the coal exposed being completely submerged by floodwaters and what pollutants would be discharged or carried off into Elm Creek onto downstream properties and into the Eagle Pass water supply. There were some discrepancies between the application filed by Dos Republicas to TCEQ versus the application filed to the Railroad Commission. Someone made the comment that whatever they said to the Railroad Commission is of no consequence to us. I believe this is a wrong-headed response to that. I think it is very relevant what applications have been made to all state agencies. I do not think it is permissible or indicative of good practice that they can make two completely separate applications to two different state agencies and state different things to each one. Specifically, in regards to the 3 retention ponds at the Railroad Commission, they said there was 0 discharge and all 3 retention ponds would be lined. Whereas in the TCEQ application, they show those ponds discharging and being unlined. Then lastly, the use of pit water or sedimentation pond water for dust suppression, I don't think has been adequately addressed. This pit water will contain coal fines and acid from the iron sulfide in the mines, as well as possibly boron. If this is spread on the roads for dust suppression, it will eventually wash down into Elm Creek. Likewise, and returning to the previous point, Dos Republicas at the Railroad Commission said that they would use chemicals which they would not identify for dust suppression. Here they claim to TCEQ they are not using chemicals for dust suppression. These chemicals, if used, need to be identified and their consequences evaluated in regard to what happens when they get washed down into the Elm Creek water supply. And lastly, As I mentioned, in the question area, it says in the December 2012 notice of public meeting and application preliminary decision that the executive director's preliminary decision and draft permit are available for viewing at the Maverick County Courthouse. And as I stated, they were not available until January 21st of this year. So I think that the failure to be able to implement a very routine administrative function and to actually have documents where they're supposed to be does not augur well for being able to accomplish the much more complicated tasks of water quality management and protection. Thank you.